Ransomware has been a growing menace for years, but there has been a marked increase during the recent months in both sophistication and level of innovation in this portion of the cybercrime underbelly. If you did not know, cybercrime comes in many different forms, such as email and internet fraud, identity theft, financial theft like someone stealing your credit cards, theft and sale of corporate data, cryptojacking, cyber espionage, and cyber extortion. Ransomware attacks are a type of cyber extortion. Just to give you an idea of how big the ransomware market is today, it is estimated that the cost of ransomware attacks reached $20 billion dollars in 2020. Now, just for comparison, the ransomware protection tools market, like all the software that you can buy today to protect your organization from ransomware, stands at $48 billion dollars. What that means is that losses from ransomware are ramping up quickly and will outpace and outsize the protection market, much like the overall cybersecurity losses. Ransomware perpetrators carry out more than 4,000 attacks daily, where an organization on average pays a ransom of $154,000, and 1 in 4 of the organizations end up paying the ransom. Anyhow, ransomware attacks can quickly turn into a nightmare for unprepared IT teams, where the average downtime following a ransomware attack stands at 19 days. Two of the largest sectors that make for the best targets for ransomware attackers are education and healthcare. If you remember one ransomware, I bet that's WannaCry, as it was the biggest and most damaging ransomware in history. It crippled 200,000 computers around the world, and NHS in the UK was most severely affected by the attack. And as per the cyber risk modeling experts, the overall loss caused by WannaCry was close to $4 billion dollars. So in this video, I want to talk about the shifting landscape of ransomware attacks and particularly cover the largest ever $50 million dollars ongoing Apple supply chain based ransomware attack and discuss what the future ramifications are as ransomware attacks continue to ramp up. Be right back. Hi, my name is Afaq. Hope you're doing well. It is no secret that ransomware is one of the top threats in cybersecurity today. Organizations around the world are held hostage by ransomware each day, and many are forced to pay up for various reasons, from a lack of recoverable backups to the cost of downtime or data theft outweighing the cost of paying the ransom. New ransom groups are entering the market at a rapid pace, and the new ransomware business models are also on the rise. The three top ransomware groups today are Revel, Egregior, and Ryak. As per Checkpoint, the daily average of ransomware attacks in Q3 2020 increased 50% when compared it to the previous 6 months, with Ryak, one of the top ransomware groups that I just mentioned, alone attacking 20 organizations a week. Anyhow, the real reason for ransomware growth is the fact that it is a lucrative game. Here is the list of ransomware trends on the rise. Number 1, rise of ransomware as a service attacks. This enables threat developer to sell or lease malware to users on dark web forums. Why? Because many cyber criminals want to cash in but cannot code or launch campaigns, and that's where the affiliate model comes in. The affiliate schemes provide low-level attackers with the ability to distribute and manage ransomware campaigns, with the developer behind the ransomware receiving a portion of each ransom victim's pay for the decryption key. It is estimated that about 2/3 of the ransomware attacks came from cyber criminals operating out of a ransomware as a service model. Number 2, increase in sophistication. These include code tweaks, changes in victimology, for the lack of better words, and the move to attack cloud native workloads managed by Kubernetes and Docker. Some ransomwares can evade or dodge the sandboxes by evading the detection techniques which allow them to fly under the radar. As ransomware gangs get paid, some of that money is rotated and reinvested to acquire even more brain power and enhance the ransomware capabilities, such as finding and building zero-day exploits. With more cash on hand, nothing is stopping a group from buying 0 days from the dark webs. So much like Trojanized backdoors, there is also a trend to develop cross platform ransomware. Compromise automation, like informing the owner of the success as soon as the ransomware takes over the victim, is also on the rise. Number three, shifting TTPs and extortion operations. Besides technical sophistication that we just talked about, ransomware groups are also switching up their techniques, tactics, and procedures to further improve their extortion outcomes. Like until 2 years ago, there was no such thing as exfiltrating the victim's data and selling it to the highest bidder in the ransomware world. This is a significant shift from just encrypting files and data and demanding a ransom for providing the decrypt key. It is expected that over 80% of the ransomware attacks this year in 2021 will use this tactic. Well, why not? It is working. There is also more focus on post exploitation activities, especially going after the customers or partners in the organization if the attackers can find compromising or valuable information. This is like combining the ransom with blackmail. This is something we can call ransomware based on supply chain, and I want to come back to this with the recent Apple attack. But what else? We have also seen attackers demanding double payments, like one payment to decrypt and another to keep the data out of the dark web. We have also seen customers getting DDoS if they don't pay up the ransom. On cloud native front, imagine a ransomed Kubernetes cluster. Container images are also a new target for ransomware groups, as well as supply chain compromises like we saw with CodeCov, since they contain the application code as well as the external dependencies. Container images are stored within a centralized container repo, such as the Docker Hub. This is where tools like Kubernetes pull the container images from. So if an attacker can successfully compromise popular base images such as Ubuntu or WordPress or what have you, then it could allow the attacker to plant ransomware within those otherwise legit images. Finally, in terms of victim selection, there is a renewed focus on hunting larger organizations. And that brings me to the Apple ransomware attack by a ransomware group known as Revil. Hope I am pronouncing it right. To me, it sounds like a pun on devil with an R for ransom. Anyhow, the Revil ransomware gang is known for big, bold attacks on the world's largest and biggest organization, and also for its demands for massive ransoms. While Apple was launching new products on April 20th out of Cupertino, the Revil Group announced that they have hacked into Apple partner Quanta and stole a bunch of internal documents. If you did not know, Quanta Computer is a contractor that Apple uses to build Apple Watch, MacBooks, and iMac. To produce Apple products, Apple provides them with the confidential schematic diagrams and knowledge of product roadmaps in advance. Quanta is yet another Taiwan based contractor besides the world famous Foxconn. Now, since Apple has a very strong security posture, the attacker chose to target a weaker link in the supply chain. So far, Quanta has refused to pay the ransom, and Revil is demanding the ransom directly from Apple. Revil has put a deadline of May 1st, and if they are not paid by that date, they're saying they're going to release the Apple confidential schematics revealing details about the future product roadmap. Given Revil history, it is highly likely that they will follow through and indeed dump the data. You can also take it to the bank that Revil did not target Quanta just for Apple, which means you're going to start to see confidential details about other vendors once Apple ransom is settled one way or the other. Revil has not dumped any Apple related data since they made the announcement, so the parties may be negotiating behind the scenes. Anyhow, here are my final thoughts. Number one, it is clear that the future of ransomware is not ransom. It is actually valuable data theft, which means more eye-popping ransom demands coming down the pike. Number two, while data backup is useful for other purposes, it is not going to be useful for protection against ransomware. Why? Because backups do not protect against data theft and selling it to the highest bidder. Number three, supply chain. We keep coming back to the supply chain as the new modus operandi. Why? Because it carries the most bang for the efforts put in by the hackers. Like, why try to steal data from Apple when you can simply compromise Quanta Computer or another contractor down the supply chain, which opens up doors to stealing not just Apple's internal document, but just about everyone else who contracts their manufacturing out to Quanta. For example, Quanta also supplies laptops and desktops for Dell and HP. Number 4, as big game hunting continues in the world of ransomware, we're likely to see even more novel approaches such as providing data to short sellers of publicly traded companies. If short seller did some academic research before initiating a short position, there would be no need for them to hire PR firms. A case in point is GameStop and what happened to Melvin Capital. If you don't know, be sure to check it out. Anyhow, $50 million does not look much when you factor in a $2 million regulatory penalty under the EU's GDPR or California's Consumer Privacy Act. Last but not least, it is interesting to note that the US DOJ launched a national task force aimed at addressing the ransomware threat exactly a day after Revil announced the hack. Anyhow, thank you for watching the video. Let's continue the dialogue in the comments section. I'll see you guys on Mondays and Friday. Love you. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.